There you
No
go,
problem.
sir.
Thanks.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey. How's everybody doing? It's Happy Friday. You are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I'm your excellent host, Scott Robertson, and with me as always is the man in the booth, Florentino Buenaventura. How are you, man?
Yo. We are here. We're making it happen for you, sir.
All right. Sounds good. Well, today I thought we would, I really wanted to talk about public relations. I want to make sure that we, had the opportunity to talk about that. It's kind of the core of what I do for my clients. It's my absolute favorite kind of arrow in the marketing quiver, mainly because of the trust that is found there. So I thought we'd spend some time today really just talking about public relations. So we're going to talk about kind of what is it, kind of why you should care. We're going to talk about some of the different opinions that people have about PR out there, how it's changing. We're going to talk about press releases a little bit in the second segment. Then we're going to talk about some PR problems out there, and we're going to kind of finish up today by talking about how you can do it better for for your band or your brand or your company or whatever. So why don't we start with kind of what is it? Because it is sort of misunderstood, and basically, PR is sometimes just thought to be relations with the press, right? You grab like nine out of 10 people on the street and ask them what PR is, and if they have any answer at all, it's probably going to be that answer right there. It'll be dealing with the press. And sometimes people think, well, let's talk to a PR firm when we have a big news story to tell. But really, the way that I practice PR and the way a lot of people practice PR is that it's just much more aligned with the management of all the relationships and all the communication between an organization and the various audiences that it serves. Obviously, in today's world, that certainly is going to include social media. It's going to include, your traditional press, online, and offline press, and just all the different ways that an organization can reach its audience. Live stream video. Obviously, even Intertalk Radio and podcasts and things like that. Very interesting. New tactics, sort of in the public relations quiver. So. But it really takes a comprehensive strategy that incorporates all the different channels and kind of ties them to real business objectives. One of the things that when I talk to business owners, you want to make sure that you have really good. First of all, you have really good business objectives, and right after that, you have your communications objectives are really helping support the business objectives. So everything's just kind of working together. That's really what you want to see. Now, kind of why you should care about public relations is kind of interesting. It has to do with trust. Basically, a Pew Research study came out earlier this year, and it said that about 9 out of 10 people now, according to Pew Research, do not trust anything that a company says, right? And companies have really kind of earned that reputation because companies have let us down. They have lied to us. They get caught in scandals a lot. Things like that, and those things destroy trust. And so, even though it's a broad brush to kind of paint with, what I tell my clients is you can really assume if you're out there communicating that 9 out of 10 of the people that you're talking to don't believe every word that you say, certainly. With public relations, you can knock out about half of that. In other words, you can kind of gain 50% of that. So about 5 out of 10 people believe what they see and read on when the media bring a message to them, and when the traditional media and the online and offline media do that. So that's really important. PR is really about trust. It is about helping journalists. It's kind of this layer that exists between a company and the profession of journalism as it stands today. So it's really, if you're doing PR, you're kind of have your journalist hat on, and you also have your company hat on, because you want to make sure it's really it's a sort of a win-win between those two audiences, and kind of helping those two audiences kind of find each other is really what you're doing. And then, of course, you're making it extremely easy for journalists to cover the companies that we work for. I always, tell my team and tell folks that have worked with me, throughout the years, that really the company that makes it as easy as possible for the media to deal with them is really going to win when it comes to public relations. That means calling people back in a very timely fashion. That means making sure that your press materials are, truthful and, accurate, factual, all the little things, those kind of things. Making sure that the resources that you're providing are useful, those kind of things. So, really that's a little bit about why you should care. PR is an interesting subject. As someone who's practiced it for many, many years, it's not thought of extremely highly by a lot of people. In fact, I watched 2 network television programs over the past couple of weeks that basically bring in the PR person on the show, and that obviously it's an actor or an actress portraying a PR person, and that person's job is really to explain to the company how they can best lie and get out of a particular situation. Let's bring in our spin doctor, and they're going to just spin this problem away, and they're just going to lie this problem away, and that kind of thing. That is a very poor idea in actual public relations. This is kind of where Hollywood public relations and real public relations are going to differ. Again, we talked about what is PR. It's about relationships. You don't get too far in the relationship game if you lie, if you try to obscure the truth. Likewise, if you're just sort of a good news factory, that is also kind of a problem. You don't want to be just always going to the media when you have good news to tell. If you want to have a relationship with someone, it's really in good times and bad. And we're going to talk about some of the bad. Believe me, there's a lot to talk about when you talk about public relations and people kind of doing things wrong. But it gets a bad rap. It really does. The PR people that are portrayed in the movie The Martian, the PR person encourages them to sort of obscure the truth and not necessarily. It's played by Kristen Wiig, and she's the NASA's PR person. And they call up on her, and she's like, "Oh, this story was not going to look very good. We're going to have this dead body of an astronaut, on Mars. So we should just delay this whole thing." Like, again, Hollywood public relations kind of versus the real thing. You want to be a real company. You want to be, and again, it is, the R in PR stands for relationships these days. It always really has, but especially today, and it's very, very important to understand what it takes to create a good business relationship. And it definitely starts with telling them the whole truth and nothing but the truth every single time you can. As much as you know of it at any one time, you want to be forthcoming with that. And that may not sound like the most exciting strategy in the world, but believe me, it really, really works. That's how you're going to, win friends and influence people in the media, and that's how you're going to be useful to the media. And the media wants you to be useful to them. They have a tough job to do out there, and we have fewer journalists working in the United States of America than any time in American history right now. And that's because of all the layoffs and things and consolidations and, of all the transformation from print to digital, that kind of thing. But you can count on the fact that, you have no fewer, PR people out there pitching, but you have a much smaller audience of journalists out there, sort of listening and placing stories. And they have a very hard job to do. Instead of having to write, one story a day or 1 or 2 stories a week, they really have to do the job of 2 or 3 people these days. And it's a very difficult job now, journalism is. And so it's a good thing that PR is out there, because we help them. We really help journalists get things done, make sure our clients are accessible, get photos and videos and things they need. All right. Well, that's segment one. Come on back. We made the best brand win on Intertalk Radio. You got this. We'll see you in a few.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey. Happy Friday. You are tuned in to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am your host, Scott Robertson. With me still is Florentino Buenaventura from The Changing Stage. How's it going, man?
I'm here, man. We are rocking it up. Great show. PR, man. So important for any business or any artist or anybody who is trying to build a brand.
Excellent. Well, we got off to a good start. We've been talking about PR. We've been talking about kind of what it is, and we talked about the R in PR standing for relationships, and all the different relationships that a company is going to be responsible for. In this segment, I wanted to speak specifically about one small tactic of PR, kind of where a lot of people run into it, and that is the press release. Very misunderstood tool, by the way. But since everybody writes them and puts them out there, and there are some just really, really horrible ones in this world today. I mean, just listen to the sound of my voice. There's some stuff that should never be posted anywhere being passed off as a press release. So let's not do that. I'm here to help you, and just sometimes it's an easier job than we think it is, and it's important. So one of the first things I want to say about press releases is short. Used to be you could get away with, especially in high tech PR where I started when I moved to LA. You used to be able to get away with a longer release that had more information, 3 or 4 pages, because it was a complex subject and you had to kind of get through it. Well, again, as I talked about in last segment, there's fewer journalists doing this work than ever before, and it's really harder than ever to get their attention, keep their attention. And and everything that goes with that. So keep your press releases short. I don't see any reason in the world why a press release needs to be more than 1 page long. And that is including, if at the end of a press release you have your kind of about companies section, your what's called in the industry your boilerplate, like about Robertson Communications, for example. That's cool. And if that goes over into your second page, that's good. But everything else really should probably be on 1 page, because that's about the attention span that you're going to get. The headline needs to be really, really good. It needs to be a really good newsworthy written headline too. Again, keep it short. Shorter is always better. Clearer is always better. I can't tell you how many press releases I run into that are filled with buzzwords and just BS and just stuff that does not belong in something that you're going to put in front of the eyes of a journalist. Think about it this way, and I talk to some of my high-tech clients about this sometimes. The media are probably the most cynical audience on the planet, right? You can assume that, like I said, if the consumers don't trust you, the media don't trust you times 1,000. So, that is the last audience in the world that you want to write, we're going to change the world, and we're going to put all these hyperbole, statements, and it's a full service or a complete solution, with multi-points and all these kind of things. You just be real. Just listen to me right here. Just be real. The way that you would explain it to somebody that you didn't have to impress, that's what you want to do right there. You want to take off the this isn't an investor pitch. This isn't anything like that. This is about putting a tool in the hands of a journalist that they can then use to kind of turn around, should they be so inclined, they can turn around and they can write a story from your copy, and they have everything they need to do the job. Somewhere along the line, the press release kind of got twisted, I think. Maybe earlier on it was always used as a tool to send to journalists, but then PR sort of got the idea of, well, hey, we can communicate with all audiences with this press release, and so now we can just kind of write a more sensationalistic story. And of course, that's going to weaken your ability to have it be used by journalists. That is misunderstood a lot, because if you could easily go up, well, we could easily talk to any high technology journalist and they could share with us, a few hundred press releases that they probably received today. That if they like the story well enough, they're probably going to have to work, because the press release isn't written that well. It's not that clear. It doesn't have great facts in it, and they have to, and they have to follow up. And again, what we talked about in the first segment, make it easy. Again, think about, your job. If your job as a PR person or an owner of a company or a band leader or anything, think about it in this way. You're not promoting here. Take the promotion hat off for a second. You're a journalist, or better yet, I always think of it as like you're an assistant to a journalist. So let's say you're an assistant editor, and your editor is going to write this story, and they need you to find out and to figure out all the facts and to get all the pieces and all the quotes lined up and all the information set up and set all that kind of stuff up so that they can then write the story. That's how you want to think about PR, right there. You're assisting journalists in doing their job. The minute that you turn on the promotions hat and you start pitching like you're on Shark Tank, now we got a problem, because now you're no longer the journalist assistant. You're trying to sell the journalist, and that's not going to work out for you, honest to God. So what you want to do, again, just keep it real, keep it clear, keep it truthful. Again, I don't care what you see in Hollywood movies and Hollywood, television shows about PR, that lying is the best policy. That is not true at all. Do not ever do that. And anybody that's in the room that says, hey, I think we should lie, escort them from the room at that point. They need to leave. If it's a lawyer, great. Go study the law somewhere. But we're not lying. We're not doing that, because we're in the long-term relationship business. That is the plan. And again, so and I've had lots of battles like that. Just to talk about lawyers for a second and PR, there is kind of a constant battle that goes on. Lawyers are paid to win in the courtroom, right? But PR people are paid to win in the larger courtroom that is the court of public opinion, and that is the court of perception and protecting the brand and things like that. I always explain to my lawyer friends like this. I say, look, I know you got a job to do, and that's important. But if we lie and we get caught, there's no more company and you don't get paid. And then they go, oh, I understand now. And I'm like, yes. See, we are looking out for what I like to call the greater good of the company. And, sometimes you're the only person in the room looking out for it, to be quite honest. But somebody's got to. And oftentimes that's PR. That's kind of why we get the reputation sometimes, too, of being the conscience of the organization. It comes from that. Because PR is not looking for a sale today. We're not looking for, a story today. We're not looking for this kind of thing. We're looking out across the horizon and saying, how do we set this organization up so that it survives, and so that it thrives and has great relationships for a long time to come? That's the job of PR right there. Very, very important stuff. So, a couple of quick hints on press releases. Again, people always ask me all the time, should we put them over the wire? The wire services like PR Newswire, Business Wire, things like that. Absolutely. Yeah, I like wire services. I think that they're good. I don't think that you count on those necessarily to reach journalists. What you want to do with your press release is, again, you keep it short. You use it, you want to construct a good pitch to a journalist, usually something custom based on what you've read, what they cover, and that sort of thing. PR is it's a real one-to-one type of thing. Like if you did want to equate it to sales, it would be like, pitching one company to one company kind of thing. Usually you don't blast the same thing to all reporters at the same time, because they don't cover news in the same way. Even folks that have the same job at different publications, they look at it differently. They cover it differently. Maybe some people have different video needs. Some people have, especially in the music products industry, guitar player and, Premier Guitar don't cover things the same way on purpose. because they want to be different. They're in the same space, and they have a different philosophy about how they kind of see the world and how they cover things, and that's great. From a PR perspective, it is your job to know what they want and to make sure that you and your clients are providing what they want in sort of in a timely fashion. But in terms of wire distribution, I am a fan of that. I do think that it does give additional visibility for your press releases. Sometimes it can be quite expensive. I definitely look at the packages and see what your client can afford and what is going to make the most sense. Every objective is different. If you're launching a national program, it's a national release. Absolutely, a wire distribution could make a lot of sense. If it's a regional conference that's just going to be in one particular area, then you're kind of wasting your money. If you're hitting people in Kalamazoo with the conference that's going to be in California. That whole targeting thing is, always very important to consider. So we've got our press release. We know how we're gonna distribute it. We know that it's not supposed to be over 2 pages long, or it's not supposed to be over 1 page long. Really, maybe just like 1 1/3 pages would be a really good target for that. And again, we're going to try to write a really good, clear press release that is going to be a tool that journalists can use. Again, all of PR is kind of a tool that journalists can use, if you think about it. And everything that we do is designed to make their lives easier. And the reason we do that, that's why they call it earned media. The earned part is you're working for them. You're absolutely working for them, and you're absolutely doing everything that they need to get done so that they can get their impossibly hard job of covering done. Very, very important stuff. And it's, press releases are a great tool. I hope you got a lot out of this segment. Next segment, come on back. We're going to be talking about PR problems. Stay tuned. You made the Talk Radio. Peace out.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
One person has the power to change the world, impact millions of lives, and leave a legacy for lifetimes to come. That person is you. In the New York Times bestseller, What is Your What? Steve Olsher, award-winning author and founder of the Reinvention Workshop, reveals his proven process that has helped thousands of men and women discover, share, and monetize the one thing they were born to do. Grab your free copy now at www.whatisyourwhat.com/free. That's www.whatisyourwhat.com/free.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, happy Friday. You are still tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I'm your host, Scott Robertson, and with me is Florentino Buenaventura. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. You know what? I learned so much from your show. I thought I knew marketing. I thought I knew PR, but every time I listen in, it gives me key points to kind of focus in on and gets to the heart of the messaging that we want to deliver for our brand, whether it be a radio show, whether it be a band or an artist. So I'm really learning a lot, Scott. Appreciate it, brother.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, good. I hope everybody out there is, learning a bit about this crazy world of public relations that we're talking about, and we'll continue to talk about. I mean, there's so much stuff to talk about in the news. Kind of brings us here at segment 3. We're going to talk about some PR problems that we see, and believe me, it's far too easy to find topics to discuss. First one I want to talk about is a little food restaurant called Chipotle. Chipotle has had some problems that I mean, obviously health and safety problems, just an ongoing series of problems. For about the past, I would say at least 6 months, they've been having, health and safety problems. And it could even go back longer than that. And the PR, of course, has jumped into the fray. And how do we rebuild this brand? How do we rebuild all this trust? This brings me to an interesting point. A lot of people kind of expect PR to kind of wave the magic wand and make the problems go away. But sometimes the problems are, they're real problems. They're real operational. The company is not doing things right kind of problems. And at that point, if you're doing PR, again, the goal is relationships, right? The R in PR stands for relationships. So what are we going to do about these relationships? Chipotle shut down all of its stores, had a 1-hour safety meeting, and went over and said, okay, so all employees they need to be talking about it for more than an hour. I'll tell you what, but and more than just the employees need to be involved, and they need to be doing more of an investigation and really taking more of a. It seems like they kind of let the story kind of control them. And Chipotle is no small company, it's owned by McDonald's, so, the leader in fast food owns this company, and they have access to some very significant resources, and very significant resources are very significantly failing on a regular basis, which is kind of sad when you think about it, because you would expect them to be able to do a little bit better job. So sometimes you want to create a little bit of separation between if a company's actually having a lot of problems. What you don't want to do is try to kind of PR your way or marketing your way out of that. You want to fix the problems. It's not rocket science here. You want to go in and fix the problems and slowly but surely rebuild some of that trust that you probably have lost. Another thing that you would have going in your favor in this case is that we have kind of a short attention span here in the lovely United States of America, and somebody else will do something more ridiculous than you, and the world forgets pretty quickly. But again, what I would say is every single time it happens again, and multiple times, it's just it's just throwing gasoline on the fire. The reporters will pull up every single instance of when it happened, and they kind of have to. It's not, they have to, because that's doing the job of a journalist, to kind of, and I just think that, when I look at Chipotle, I look at a company that has some very serious processes wrong with it, and they need to really dig into that and really explain. They've never really explained kind of what went wrong, right? And to me, if you never really explained how people got sick and how people got really deathly sick at your restaurant, then you actually don't know how they got sick. And if you don't know, then I'm not eating at your restaurant. I mean, you kind of have to know, and you kind of have to communicate, okay, we got to the bottom of the problem and this is it, and that kind of thing. Something, much more than just, hey, and I think they've, sometimes companies listen to legal, as we always talk about, and legal's like, don't admit anything, don't admit anything, because they're trying to kind of win in the small courtroom. And I always remind companies that I talk to that we have to win in the big courtroom. The big courtroom counts too, and the big courtroom is everybody, is the court of public opinion. And to win there, we have to make sure that we have fully explained, what actually happened here. So that's what's going on with Chipotle. I'm kind of stunned that they're continuing to have so many problems. I don't think that this brand comes back. I think that this company goes bankrupt within a year. Because again, it's owned by McDonald's. They're gonna do something else because they obviously can't figure this out. And that my prediction is I don't know if this brand is going to be salvageable. It certainly hasn't been with what they've done. And you reach a point with how many things you've done that the publisher's going to completely lose faith. But anyway, that's my opinion on Chipotle. But it should be an interesting thing to watch happen. I do also want to talk about, kind of while we're talking about problems and stuff like that, I want to talk about Maria Sharapova for a second. I really liked the way that she handled her recent crisis. When celebrities get caught doing something bad, in her case, she tested positive, for a illegal substance for the Tennis Association, a performance-enhancing drug or whatever. When an athlete gets caught doing this kind of thing, there's kind of a playbook that we've seen, right? They issue an apology, and it's just they have their agents, their managers, and lawyers, and everybody's talking for them, and that sort of thing. I really like what Maria did. She went on camera. She didn't go on a talk show. She didn't film her own video like Paula Deen style. Put it on YouTube. It was just wacky. If you ever get a chance to see that thing, that was nuts. But with Maria, she got up and she owned up. She just and it's like the confrontation is over. Once you own up, it's like she's like, yeah, I did it. You know what? I did. Guilty as charged. I'm willing to accept the punishment for what I did. And she kind of explained it. And then there was no more story. Journalists call that peeling the onion. That onion's peeled, baby. That there's nothing left there because there's no blame. There's no blame. There's nobody else. There's no conspiracy. There's nobody else that was involved. It was just her making a mistake. And I think what you find, what you find in American pop culture is, we are very forgiving if people own up to their mistakes and they kind of know how things happened and things like that. So, PR isn't always a rose garden. And I always talk to my clients about this. They always want to go to the press when it's a great story. But then when there's layoffs, oh, well, let's not call them back. Let's not call the press back. Let's not do that because they might write a story. You think they're going to write a story? Do you? Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Again, relationships, correct? So if you want a relationship, if your relationship with your brother, if you only called your brother when things were going well, what kind of relationship do you have? You're not a very deep one. You're not talking about the real stuff that's going on in your lives. Oh, things are fine. How are you? I'm fine. I'm fine too. I'm good too. Everything's good. Everything's great. Okay, great. Well, good talking to you. Goodbye. Boom. No. Relationships are about sharing stuff, are about, being real, being truthful, being all those things that is uncomfortable and painful and horrific to consider. And when I mention it in the boardroom and people go, oh, we can't do that. We can't do that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yesterday, the BART system in San Francisco is a public transportation system. It was designed a long time ago. It goes down all the time. So people tweet to the BART system, your system's down again. I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late, this kind of thing. BART did something that I consider to be revolutionary in communications. They cut off the BS and they just talked. They got on Twitter and they said, you know what? Our system was designed for 45 years of use, and we're in year 45, and honestly, we're looking for answers. This system is taxed beyond its capacity. You people have used it beyond its ability to be used, and everybody kind of wonders why. And I thought that was read that feed if you can. Go to the BART feed, on Twitter, and go check out how honest those responses were. I was standing up and applauding. I was like, that's what I'm talking about right there. Tell people the truth. They can handle the truth. The truth, which is kind of brutal in this case, is the fact that San Francisco did not adequately plan for its public transportation problemos, and thus, they have taxed their system beyond its capabilities, and now they just blame the system like it's the subway's fault. And there's just fact after fact that they throw at the people that are complaining at them, and they say, hey, while we're sorry, this is the truth. This is what we all have to face together, is that if we're going to fix this public transportation system, then, fewer people are going to have to use it, or we're going to have to design a different system that, is going to serve people's needs. And I really, really liked that. I thought that it was refreshing, right? Because you get so much spin and so much smoke and so much BS from so many companies. And when a company is real, it cuts through. It absolutely cuts through. It takes courage. It takes a lot of courage to be real in a fake world, believe me. But you know what? I think it's great. Look at Donald Trump. Say what you will. Man says what's on his mind. And you know what? The voters are responding like they've never responded before. So I think this real thing, being real with people might be a trend that catches on. So I would pay very close attention to that in the future. Right now, you're tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. We'll see you back in segment 4 to talk about how you can live minutes. Thanks.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Attention business owners. Does it feel like your business owns you? See if you qualify for a free 90-minute business coaching session to help you build a business, not a job. During this free 90-minute strategic consultation, one of our senior coaches will help you map out the best way to grow your company and get your life back. To learn more, go to MauiMasterminds.com/scale now. That's MauiMasterminds.com/scale now.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children.
After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The WorldLink program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit mozeguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at whichwich.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICH, WICH. Whichwich.com. May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hello, hello, hello. You are back for segment 4 here on May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am that guy, Scott Robertson, and with me is the man with the plan, Florentino Buenaventura. How's it going, man?
We are going great, man. You are sounding awesome, sir. It's always an informative show, and you're going to close out with a strong segment, as you always do.
Excellent, excellent. We are going to talk about we're going to talk about public relations today. One of my favorite topics. Again, my favorite kind of go-to, in marketing. And again, that's really about trust. Everything in marketing that you send out, you can kind of pretty much assume that people are going to be raising an eyebrow and not really trusting. But if you give up a little bit of control and you let the media kind of take a message for you, sometimes, which is how a lot of people encounter public relations, then you can get that trust. You can get, first of all, you have to win the trust of the media, and then they kind of, help you win the trust of the audiences. PR is also one of the only things that I've ever seen that moves somebody from awareness all the way down to, consideration and purchase in one touch. I'm not aware of any other marketing tactic that can really move somebody, all the way down the chain that quickly. And so that's why I like it. So in the first segment, we talked about kind of what it is. And again, we talked about the PR and the R standing for relationships. We talked about, long-term relationships that a company needs to be successful. We talked about why you should care about it. We talked a little bit about press releases, why you should do them, kind of best way to do them, things like that. Then in segment 3, we talked about some of the problems that people are having out there. Some of the brands that are dealing with PR problems out there and how they're dealing with them. But in this segment, I really wanted to make it all about you guys listening out there, how you can do it better. Just some real tips that you can kind of take away from this show and say, hey, I did not waste an hour of my life here. That's what I'm talking about. So here's how you do PR well. Now, first rule, if these are Robertson's rules of how to do PR well. We can call it that. That sounds good. Number 1 is be real. Dial back your hype. Again, if there's one mistake that's made over and over again, it's companies who allow their kind of marketing copywriters to write their press materials. Don't do that. And if you're a marketing copywriter, I love you. You're wonderful. You're wonderfully creative, but save it for your solo album. This is about helping journalists. This is about dialing it back and being a journalist helper. Be a good journalist helper in this, right? And if you do that, you will earn your way onto the media. My second tip about that is to be available. Like I say in my band, the most important ability of anybody in the band is availability. Because if the band's gonna, a club owner wants us to play on a Friday or Saturday night, and the band's all booked in other bands and stuff, then they're not going to be much use to the band. They're going to cost that band, that show. So same thing in PR, by the way. We talked about there being fewer journalists in the United States of America working than at any time in history. And what that means is they have less time to do the job. They also have tremendous competition from social media. Imagine you're a news reporter. Your job is to cover the news. And anytime anything happens, there are hundreds of people standing around it with a high-resolution camera and microphone to record it. And you are not, wherever you are, you're not there, right? So, social media has really changed the news landscape quite a bit, because they just simply can't, if you're an organization, if you're KTLA or if you're KUSI, you can't compete with the totality of humanity that has smartphones. You just can't, So they're going to be there first. There's going to be people that are, covering the news first. So then journalists have to say, well, what can we add? We're great storytellers. What can we bring to this that no one else can? And again, part of being a great PR person is thinking like a journalist. So you think, when you look at your company's story, are you looking at it like a journalist? Are you saying, is this newsworthy? Who is this newsworthy for? Why is it newsworthy? What do we have that, and you have to kind of look at it objectively, that, being objective is really, really important when it comes to PR. And I understand that there can be pressure out there, if it's the CEO's program and they're personally involved and they want to have it, pushed or whatever. But the objective is to get journalists, right? So you can be excited for your CEO on a separate channel, but on the channel that you're going out with to the press, let's make sure that we're being objective so that we can win that credibility. And again, availability. Especially in times of crisis or when they need you. You never know. There are so many journalists that I see all the time that are trying to reach companies for comment, and companies don't call them back. Guitar Center. There was a story on Guitar Center and their employees, and kind of how they were. It was a negative story about they were. Their employees were trying to unionize and they were against it and that sort of thing. And then the story said Guitar Center could not be reached for comment. Shame on you. Could not be reached for comment. You should live to comment in stories like that. That is your job. That is 100% of your job. And if you're listening to lawyers, bad idea, folks. They win in the little courtroom. Don't forget it. Don't ever forget it. That's what they're after. So be available. Be available. Always comment in stories. And people challenge me that all the time. Oh, well, is it better just to not say anything if the company's really done something wrong? No, you always comment. You're always in there. You're always in there trying to help. You're always in there trying to, have a shot at directing a story in a positive direction for your client. I tell you what, if you're not in the story, you got about 1,000,000% chance it's going to be negative. I am always in every story of all that I'm allowed to be in that affects all of my clients. And my counsel would be that you should be in every one of them too. Again, the journalists have a job to do out there, and it's our job to help them in good times and in bad. And a lot of people tend to forget that. I have a lot of friends that are journalists, and they say, "Oh yeah, when they're pitching something, the CEO is magically available to stop by whenever." But when it's bad news, the CEO is in Kuala Lumpur and cannot be found for comment. It's like, they're not stupid. They understand that you're ducking them, and that's really unwise. If they have to write the story anyway, your section is going to say, could not be reached for comment, which might as well say, is definitely, absolutely, 1,000% guilty. And it's just, it stuns me that people would ever allow that to happen on their brands. You're defending and building a wall that is a brand, and stories like that can absolutely just completely destroy your efforts. Don't ever let that happen. Don't ever let that happen to you. Don't ever let a lawyer talk you out of being in a story either. Ever, ever, ever call me, please. Be helpful, not salesy. Another Robertson rule. Always approach it. Remember we talked about being an assistant journalist. You're an assistant journalist. You are assisting the journalist. Don't sell them. Don't, save your hype. Save your hype for somebody else. And again, just try to be as helpful as you can. They need access to, this report, these statistics, this image, this video. They need all these kind of things so they can do their impossible job on a daily basis. Help them, help them complete that impossible mission, right? Help them get that stuff done. And the last thing I would say is just be persistent. Reporters are busy. And I know so many folks in PR that say, well, I sent one email, that kind of thing. One email is not going to get it done, folks. If you have a story and you believe in that story, then you keep contacting them and you keep contacting them at least until you get a no. And if you get a no, stop contacting them. You're in the relationship business after all. You're about long-term relationships, but don't assume that they don't want to hear from you just because they didn't respond to one email. Persistence is very, very important in PR. And that's it for PR. And you're tuned to the Best Brand Win on Nerd Talk Radio, the undisputed leader on Music News Talk. I'm Scott Robertson, and we'll see you next week. Take it easy.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Progressive Medical. Hey, this is Heidi Rue, and Progressive Medical Center has literally changed my life and my health, but I'm not the only one. Adele suffered from bone deterioration, bone overgrowth, profound muscle discomfort, physical exhaustion, and mental fog. In fact, the bone deterioration becomes so serious that she had to have back surgery. Well, after the surgery, she still didn't feel well, and so that's when she heard about Progressive Medical Center. Progressive Medical Center discovered that her adrenals weren't working properly, her hormones were out of whack, and the drugs she had been taking were doing more harm than good. Adele came into Progressive Medical Center in a walker, physically and mentally exhausted. But now she's a world traveler. She hikes and walks several miles a day, and it's all thanks to Progressive Medical Center. 770-676-6000. 770-676-6000.
Progressive Medical. This is your life. Live it well.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.